This is Mary, Prasad, Artist in Residence for Imagine Crafts. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make these beautiful embellishments for cards and other craft projects using creative medium and irresistible picot embellishers and texture sprays. On the screen you'll see a list of supplies needed for this project. When you open the box of Makin's clay, inside you'll find a bag which I've already opened and the clay wrapped up in plastic. Prepare the clay by rolling it around in your hands. If you're going to use a pasta or clay machine, roll it into a log so there's more area in contact with the rollers. If you're going to use a clay roller, just make a ball and then roll it out. You'll want to roll it to about 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch. Then you're going to set that aside to dry for about 24 hours. To keep the clay fresh, I put it back in its bag and then store it in an airtight container with a damp paper towel. Here are a few pieces I made earlier. These are completely cured. Notice how flexible both the clay and the mediums are. You could easily make a keychain out of these by just punching a small hole at the top. I'm going to die cut this piece that is dried overnight. Here are some of the dies that I already used, but I was curious about how a more intricate die would cut, so I'm going to use the 25 to make a Christmas embellishment. These dies require a base tray for cutting. I'll add a small magnet for support under the part of the clay that won't be cut. Then I'll get my 2 cutting plates out and run it through my die cutting machine. I was pleased to see that the numbers cut cleanly through the clay. You may want to use some black cardstock for testing. I used the dots on the stencil for the heart. I used a butterfly stencil for my butterfly, which I'll show you later in the tutorial. Now back to the 25. I'm using some silver irresistible texture spray to decorate these. First you'll want to shake up the container and do a little bit of a spray off to test it. Once you have finished spraying, immediately replace the cap so you prevent the nozzle from becoming clogged. Then set these aside to dry. Next we'll work on the heart. If you find any rough spots, you can remove them with a sanding block. To give it this really cool metallic look, you're going to use some creative medium, and you're going to apply it with either a foam brush or a paint brush. I'm using the pink iridescent creative medium. I'm going to apply it with a brush going in one direction, and then set it aside to dry before applying it in the other direction. Now I'll show you how I use the butterfly stencil to decorate this butterfly. First I'm going to tape it down with some painter's tape. Then I'm going to apply 2 different colors of creative medium. Here I'm using iridescent turquoise and iridescent purple. When applying the paste with the palette knife, be sure to go in a couple different directions to fill in all the gaps. First use one paste, clean off the palette knife, and then use the other paste and kind of mix it in between so that you get a little bit of a blend. Once you have finished, peel off the tape and very carefully remove the stencil. Be sure to clean your tools immediately after use. Also remove any extra paste from the edges of your project before the paste dries. Here I'm applying a second coat of iridescent pink to the heart in the other direction and then setting it aside to dry. Now I'm going to add a gradient of color with some StazOn ink over the top of the irresistible texture spray I applied earlier. I'm using blazing red for the first color and an ink blusher to apply the color. I'll start at the bottom and work my way about 3/4 of the way up and then apply a little more to the bottom to give the gradient look. For the number 5, I'm going to use the Cactus Green StazOn ink and apply it in the same way. Cleaning up the craft mat is simple. Just spray it with a little alcohol and wipe. For the dots on the heart, I'm going to use some creative medium in metallic silver and mix it with some blazing red StazOn ink. For the body of the butterfly, I'm going to use some Irresistible Pico Embellisher in Tuxedo Black. To decorate the wings of my other butterfly, I'm going to use Irresistible Pico Embellisher in Wedding Dress. If you would like to give your embellishments a little more protection, you may add a layer of original creative medium as a top coat, or use Irresistible Pico Embellisher in Shimmer for some sparkle and shine. You may apply it directly from the bottle or use a brush. Here's a final look at my embellishments. I did add some silver texture spray to one of the dotted hearts. I think these will make a fun addition to cards and other projects. For more ideas and inspiration, please visit us at imaginecrafts.com.